You ever sit through a presentation that just feels designed to be forgotten? Yeah, of course you have. We all have. But then there were the presentations by Steve Jobs. I mean, these were events. They launched products, they changed entire industries, and they stuck in our heads for years. So today, we're going to deconstruct his genius and pull back the curtain on the secrets behind his legendary presentations.
This is the big question, right? It's what keeps every speaker up at night. We spend hours, maybe days on our slides, we practice our lines, but the second we finish, it's like the message just vanishes into thin air. It's a really common fear. But the solution isn't about packing in more data or using fancier graphics. Nope. It's about a total shift in how you approach it.
And that is the shift. See, Jobs didn't present just to impress people. He was there to connect. His goal wasn't just to download information into your brain. It was to make you feel something, to get you to believe in an idea, and to make sure that idea got stuck in your memory. And that's our goal today, too. So, how'd he do it? Well, it all starts right here, with what is absolutely the most crucial element, framing everything. And I mean everything, as a compelling story. This isn't about your facts and figures. It's about building a narrative.
You know, you could almost say that stories are the instruction manual for the human brain. They're what turn abstract concepts and boring data into something real, emotional, and unforgettable. Jobs knew this. He knew that if he could tell you a story, maybe about a customer, or even a personal struggle, you wouldn't just hear his idea, you would actually feel it. And he was a master at structuring his stories with a classic formula. Think about it. Every great story needs a great villain. So Jobs would always start by painting this really vivid picture of the problem, the pain point, the struggle you're facing. He made the villain, whether it was complexity, a slow computer, or a terrible user experience, feel totally real and super urgent. And then once the audience could really feel the pain of that villain, bam, he'd introduce the hero, his product, his idea. It was never just a new feature. It was the solution, the victory, the hero that would come in and slay the dragon he just described. And that contrast, it created this massive persuasive power. Now, every story needs a moral, right? That single takeaway. Jobs would boil his entire presentation down into one sharp, super memorable line. Just think about 1,000 songs in your pocket. It's so simple, so easy to share, it becomes the hook for the entire idea. He'd find that line, that perfect summary, and then he would repeat it over and over, making it absolutely impossible for you to forget. Okay, so a great story needs a great stage. And this brings us to the second pillar of his genius, designing for simplicity. This is where his narrative got translated to the screen. And for Jobs, simplicity wasn't just a style choice. It was a powerful strategy for focus. That's it. That's the rule. Forget dense bullet points. Forget big paragraphs of text. Jobs would often use just a single image or a single phrase per slide. So why do that? Because it forces the audience to look at him, to listen to the story he's telling. The slide just becomes a simple visual anchor. It creates absolute, undeniable clarity. He also tapped into a really simple psychological trick, the rule of 3. Our brains are just, well, they're wired to remember things in threes. It feels complete, it feels satisfying. And Jobs used this constantly. Remember this one? Today we are introducing 3 revolutionary products. It was actually just one device, the iPhone, but he framed it as this powerful, unforgettable trio. So clever. All right, so you've got your story and you've got your simple visuals. Now we get to the real magic, the delivery. This is all about turning a good presentation into a truly unforgettable experience. I'm telling you, every single one of his keynotes had one of these, a moment that was so surprising, so dramatic, that it became the one thing everyone talked about afterward. He would build up all this tension and then deliver a jaw-dropping reveal, like pulling the impossibly thin MacBook Air out of a regular office envelope. I mean, come on, that wasn't just a product demo, that was pure theater. Look, you can have the best story in the world and the coolest reveal, but if you don't believe it, nobody else will. Jobs' passion was something you could feel. His energy was magnetic. He let his genuine excitement for the product just pour out. And that enthusiasm, it was totally contagious. The audience couldn't help but feel it too. And you know, one of his most powerful tools was actually silence. After he'd deliver a really key message, Jobs would just pause for 2 or 3 seconds. That silence, it forces the audience to stop and absorb what was just said. It adds weight, it adds drama,
and it gives real importance to your words. So, we've covered story, simplicity, and delivery. But there's one final secret that makes all of this possible. It's the foundation, the thing that allows a presentation to look so natural, so confident, so, well, effortless. We all watched him on stage and just saw a master at work, right? He was speaking as if the thoughts were just flowing to him in that moment. It looked so smooth, so intuitive. But that perception, it was a very carefully constructed illusion. And there it is. That's probably the single biggest secret to his success on that stage. That effortless, natural delivery was the result of an obsessive, almost fanatical amount of practice. I mean, he didn't just run through his slides a few times. He rehearsed for weeks. He obsessed over every single slide, every word, every demo, and every single pause. He would practice on the actual stage, in the venue, filming himself to refine every little detail. It was this ruthless rehearsal that gave him the command and the confidence to look like he wasn't rehearsing at all. So, the path to being unforgettable, it's actually pretty clear. It's about crafting that story, designing for simplicity, delivering with real impact, and then underpinning the whole thing with ruthless rehearsal. These aren't just a few random tips. They're a system for making a real connection. So the only question left is, how will you be unforgettable?